Side to side and a rhythmic break.
Neptunia Senran Kagura Ninja Wars is an action role-playing game that has been developed by the Idea Factory. And what a bad idea. As the struggle for control increased between the Daimyos of the nations, tensions rose between the two great nations, each which has home to one of the master schools of martial arts. I am a die-hard, huge Senran Kagura fan. Now, when I came across Senran Kagura was a very long time ago. When I was still playing on the PS Vita, the first Senran Kagura game I played on there was Shinobi Versus, and the trailer alone pulled me into it to not just be a fan, but to be a follower, because it was a game that I was not aware of. It's like picture Ninja Gaiden mixed with Dead or Alive, mixed with High School DxD. That's what Senran Kagura is. And from so on and so forth, they have pushed their material up to make more franchises as well. They even made animes, and they went as far as make another game on the Vita called Bon Appetit, and it's basically the girls that's not fighting each other, but I guess they wanted to take a break from all the other fighting games that they have made over the years and kind of tone it down to just try to show more of a control simulator where you can just press the right buttons as the girls that you pick begin to make dishes for their grandmaster. It was a tough fucking game because I'm not really good at button simulators, but it was actually pretty fun, and it was actually a pretty good idea for its time. Senran Kagura has went above and beyond when it comes to the creativity of what can they push out to make the fans more entertained, more than just fighting and just going around and just fighting other ninjas and stuff. Even though that was still fun, Senran Kagura has expanded, especially on the PlayStation platforms, on the PS4. Now they made another game called Senran Kagura Essable Versus, which is kind of after Senran Kagura Shinobi Versus. Now, people may think that this may be the best one. I can agree with that because they went above and beyond with this game. In fact, I still play it today, not just because of the material and because of the new characters that they put into the game, but because of the combat was more fluid, it was more engaging, and a majority of times when you transform your ninja, they really did went overhead when it came to the graphics. This Senran Kagura game, I highly recommend people to have not played Senran Kagura to play Essable Versus. You will not be sorry. And then at the same time we have Burst Renewal, which is, I guess, a remake from the Nintendo version. Now, I would still recommend playing this, but I can tell why people have mixed reviews of this, because this is when the censorship was beginning to take place. Now, I still played it. I still enjoyed it, but I only played the Japanese version. I didn't play the American version because I did not want to get triggerly pissed off, because the censorship today is tackling a lot of good franchises that we know and love, especially when it comes to games like this. And then we have Senran Kagura Beach Splash. Now, this is my least favorite game. This is basically a third-person shooter game when your ninjas is, I guess, they're on vacation and they're just shooting each other with super soakers. That's all it is. So as you can see, they have had a lot of creativity with their games, and each of them was pretty good when it comes to the way how they fight, the way how they shoot people, to 2D side scrollers, to crossovers. So Senran Kagura has not really made a game that was terrible. Question is, can they live up to the hype now? Now they can. Oh, they fucking can. I'm gonna get right down to it. The game Neptunia Senran Kagura Ninja Wars is the worst Senran Kagura game I've ever fucking played. Not just because of the censorship, which takes a very big toll of the game. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and say it. The game literally is bad in all aspects because of the censorship. It basically takes everything that was good with Senran Kagura and butchers it, cuts it in half, and just ruins it to the point where we're left with bare bones in this game. Everything that has made Senran Kagura blossom, everything that has made Senran Kagura great, everything that has made Senran Kagura a big franchise is now been cut in half. In fact, almost all the way to the point where this game is unplayable. I'm sorry if you're hearing shit in the background. But when I played this game, when I heard about this game, it broke my heart. Because out of all the games that I've heard that was coming out, like Fatal Frame, Maiden of Blackwater, Guardians of the Galaxy, Senran Kagura, well, Neptunia Senran Kagura was the game that I was mostly hyped up for, because I haven't played a Senran Kagura game in over 5 years. 5 fucking years. And I was excited. But I can understand why they took so long, because it was on the fence, especially since the last game that they released, Burst Renewal, and since the censorship community was trying to put their hands on it. So in my opinion, if you was nervous to make this game come out and it came out like this, you should have just fucking left it alone, honestly. There's not enough fan favorite Senran Kagura characters on this game. I mean, you have your mains, which is Yumi, which is my favorite character, and Asuka, but all the other characters that I've been wanting to play with on the game, they're not really in the game, which I don't really blame them, because what's the point of being in the game if you're not going to fucking enjoy it in the first place? Ever since they have censorship the combat simulator, the combat is lackluster. The enemies, you get the same enemies thrown at you. You backtrack through the same levels. All the levels look the fucking same. So there's really no creativity with the enemies, the bosses, if you can give it that, and the combat. When you fight, you have specials, you have certain type of ninja arts, but it's not really engaging as it was the original. It feels like scrapped on. It feels like a carbon cutout of what the original had. But that's because of the censorship. And where's the transformations? How come I can't transform my ninja on this game? Whenever time I fight, whenever I'm in a battlefield, or when I'm just roaming around, or when I'm about to fight a big boss, how come I can't transform in the game? Oh yeah, that's right. They make you transform automatically through the cutscenes, so when the game starts, you don't have to worry about it. So they got it under control. It's not fun when you ruin certain aspects of what makes a game enjoyable. When you ruin certain features of the game, what makes it more fun, you are butchering the franchise to make it playable. When you take away the transformations, that's what makes Senran Kagura strong. By you taking away the transformations on Senran Kagura, that's like taking away the Super Saiyan gesture of the Dragon Ball Z games. You're running a risk. That's development assassination, in my opinion. And I'm sad to say this about a Senran Kagura game. I thought I would enjoy playing this game, which is what really pisses me off the most, because ever since the censorship has gotten their hands on it, and this game reeks censorship to the point where the game, you feel the agenda of this game. You feel the censorship drowning the excitement of this game, to the point where the game is not even immature. This is one of the first Senran Kagura games I played that is not an immature rating. I should have been aware by looking at the rating alone. But was it enough for me to be cautious? Yes and no. Because the way how communities and the way how censorship is now, to the point where they're butchering franchises to a certain degree, to the point where we as fans, we as old fans, we as familiars, consumers, and people who have followed the franchise for a very long time, we instantly get pissed off when we find out that communities and censorship play a part in this. That's the reason why I'm against feminism. That's the reason why I'm against a lot of communities, because, and this is the reason why I'm against a lot of critics that play games like this and they don't have the balls to talk about the main problem of the game. I've seen reviewers review this game and they even said that the game is not really playable, the game is boring, but these same motherfuckers gave it 8s and 9s and 7s out of 10s. Are you serious? That's not even honest. But that's because they're afraid. That's because they're afraid of what the community might say. They're afraid of what the feminist community might say or might do. But you know what? I've always been an honest person. And what pisses me off is the fact that I would keep things to myself if they keep their opinions to themselves. The problem with communities and the problem with agendas like this, they have a hard time ignoring things that makes them feel uncomfortable. Instead, they want to attack certain things that has nothing to fucking do with them. Hence, games like this. And I'm pretty fucking sure that the people that attack this damn game and make this game be as censored as possible ain't even a fucking Senran fucking Kagura player. Yell on a fucking gamer. And if you're not even a gamer, and if you don't even play Senran Kagura, why the fuck does it matter to you? Problem with communities is that they have a hard time looking away of things that doesn't really involve them. If you want to attack certain things that makes you feel uncomfortable, do it if it involves you. It involves the agenda. And then what I have a problem with is that when you have developers who have made games like this, it ain't too much of a pussy to fight back. The game has so much material. Now, I have never played Neptunia. I know I keep putting myself into the Senran Kagura comparison, but that's because Senran Kagura is what made me play this game. I'm not gonna lie to you and tell you that I'm a fan of both, so I want to play them both, like all these other fucking assholes who have reviewed this game and just too afraid to talk about two genres of both of the game's potential. I've noticed people that reviewed this game either only focus on Neptunia's side or focus on Senran Kagura's side. And they said that it was a fan of both. That's not fair in my opinion, and I think that's a lie. But I was never a fan of Neptunia. Neptunia has never really pulled me in, but I did see the potential. I did see the material of the game, but by playing Neptunia, Senran Kagura, Ninja Wars, it made me want to stay away from Neptunia, period. I don't want to play none of their games. Hey, folks. Don't blame me. Blame the community. Blame the agenda. Blame the censorship. These motherfuckers are the ones who ruined my taste of trying to make myself be on board with the Neptunia franchise. It's stuff like this that runs a risk of newcomers like myself to see if I should try to play the Neptunia games. But by playing this one, it ruined my taste. Will it run me over? Well, here's the thing. I got too many fucking games, too many fucking movies, too many fucking animes, and too many shows for me to watch already. So even if I was on board with Neptunia, I might have to try to play it in a later time. But by playing this one, thanks to the censorship, I want to stay away from it. The game could have been so much more. But since they have censorship the shit out of the game, no ninja transformation, same enemies thrown at you. The enemies was so freaking lame. The enemies was so freaking terrible, dude. The bosses was bad. The specials was bad. The game was so lackluster to the point where they had cutscenes in the game, and I skipped them. I'm sorry, I didn't sit there and watch the cutscenes. Now the cutscenes animations was great. It was true to the new generation consoles. And I just love the fact that they would, like, the animation quality was way more tacked on to the environment of the background of the animation of the characters. That's great. Same thing with the story. But did it save the game? Not by a fucking long shot. This game is a good example of what happens when people like me have a good, have a great love for what we are interested with, and we see it changing. We see the generation changing because you got communities and you got censorship trying to switch it up and change it. And instead of communities, instead of developers and game developers fighting and telling people, telling the community this is what this is about, or just talking like me and just saying, look, this has nothing to do with you. If you have a problem with it, turn the fucking other way. But people these days are so fucking sensitive to the point where these communities is so big now to the point where they can attack anything and make them be on their knees and they just switch it up. They have took everything that was right with Senran Kagura and butchered it and put it in his game. And then what makes me mad the most is that people are not talking about it. You got people that reviewed this game saying that the game is talking like me, but not including the censorship of what make the game bad in the first place. You got people who are saying these things, but yet giving it high ratings. That doesn't make any sense to me. So you're saying the game is not that great. You even had people say that the game is unplayable, but yet you gave it a 7. You gave it an 8. If it's unplayable, why would you give it that much of a high score? I mean, let's talk about this. I mean, I can really look. I'm open for debate. I'm really open for debate. All I'm saying is, if the game is good, give it a good rating. If the game is bad, indicate why the game is bad and give it a rating that is acceptable. 7, an 8 out of 10. This is how you rate this game. I'm gonna have to give Neptunia Senran Kagura Ninja Wars a D-. Not only that this game pissed me off, but it broke my heart. I remember out of all the games I got in my collection, Senran Kagura was one of the main games that I was excited for. Every time they released a new game, or when I heard it was making another season on the anime genre, I was pulled in a lot. Because Senran Kagura, it was one of those hidden gems that was its own thing. You really can't compare Senran Kagura to a lot of other games. I mean, I compared it with Ninja Gaiden and stuff, but there's a lot of games that can replicate Ninja Gaiden. But Senran Kagura was its own thing when it comes to the progression, when it comes to the characters, when it comes to just the thrill of the chase of the game. Now, if you are a newcomer of Senran Kagura, I suggest you play these. Especially Estival Versus. You will love Estival Versus. If you have a Vita, play Bon Appetit and play Shinobi Versus. Stay away from this one. Because I'm afraid that even if you're not a Senran Kagura fan, if you're not a Neptunia fan and you just want to play this, you're going to be bored with the combat. You're going to feel like something's missing. And that's how I felt. I felt like this game could have been so much more, and it could have been. But thanks to the freaking censorship, they have taken a lot of things that has made Senran Kagura phenomenal and butchered it. I've been wanting to do this review for the past 3 days, but being sick, it's been holding me back. But now, since I'm feeling a little better, I finally was able to do it. And the reason why I wanted to push this review out was because I know people are going to hate what I'm going to say about this review. But that's one thing about a critic, is that you're going to do reviews that people are not going to like because of how honest you are. But I'm open for criticism. I'm open for debate. I'm open for opinions. Because let's just be fair here. The internet is filled with people that will say things that they would never say in front of my face. They would normally say certain things and point out certain things to make people feel a certain way. But most of the things that they say don't exist in front of me. They don't. They would normally say these type of things at home, in their fucking room, in fucking private, and away from people. I'm talking about the community, if y'all don't know what I'm talking about. In the feminist community. I have debated with the feminist community and so many censorship communities over the years, and I've noticed that they just can't take my ownage, because these communities have a hard time minding their own fucking business when it comes to the shows that we watch, the games that we play, the movies that we look into. And most of these motherfuckers are not even the fans of a fan of these genres. They just see certain things and they just attack it. If you love these things, I don't mind you taking away certain things that make you feel uncomfortable, but how can you make it better? Let that be an example. All right, class dismissed. Get the fuck out of my